You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
The very first thing that the president did was condemn the attacks both in Pittsburgh and in the pipe bombs. The very first thing the media did was blame the president and make him responsible for these ridiculous acts. That is outrageous.
11 dead at a Pittsburgh synagogue. Anti-Semitism is on the rise. Is our politics the problem or the solution? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on anti-Semitism on the rise in a moment, but first, our top stories at 7. The Sarasota School District's brand new police department is barely 4 months old, and already a major shakeup tonight. There are changes. The district calls it a strategic shift in leadership and a reassignment of the newly appointed police chief, Paul Grahowski. The Sarasota School Superintendent says the district's head of security is leaving, and he is bringing in Sarasota County Sheriff's Office Captain Timothy Enos, who has ties with the district.
The strength of our school police department is and will always be the relationship between the officer on the campus and their student. And I want them to know that there is no change in that relationship. We're excited about where we're headed, but the officer that was on your campus will be there tomorrow providing that same level of exceptional customer service.
Enos will have the month of November to transition into his new role. We will be discussing these changes tomorrow night at the Trapezoid. Just how hard should it be for the Florida legislature to raise taxes even if there is a dire need? Amendment 5 would make it tougher for future lawmakers to raise taxes by requiring a 2/3 vote in the state House and Senate, up from a simple majority. The League of Women Voters and the Florida Education Association oppose Amendment 5, arguing during an economic crisis the proposal would tie the hands of lawmakers who may need additional revenue to fund government services.
You have to be able to have some wiggle room. You have to have some outlet to do something as a state and provide for those in need.
To be added to the state constitution, the proposal requires a 60% voter support from voters in the November 6th election. We are less than a week away from Election Day. Both candidates in Florida's heated gubernatorial race making last-minute campaign stops around the state. Republican Ron DeSantis stopping here on the Suncoast earlier this morning at Dolphin Aviation in Sarasota. He pointed out what he calls stark differences between him and his opponent, Democrat Andrew Gillum, saying he supports military officers and claims Gillum doesn't. He also talked about immigration.
And I think it is a bad policy. You don't want to incentivize people to come illegally. You want to incentivize people to come legally so we have a legal, well-functioning immigration system.
DeSantis will finish today campaigning with President Trump in Fort Myers. The event starting right now at the Hertz Arena. Hundreds of people gathered to hear Democratic Andrew Gillum in Pensacola today. He encouraged people to get out and vote, and he also spoke about education, global warming, climate change, Medicaid, and gun reform. Gillum had support from different groups, including a crowd of veterans. And ABC7 employees dressed up for Halloween today. We had people dressing up as Scott Dennis, Jacqueline Matter, and Bob Harrigan. We had a minion from Despicable Me. The producer for this broadcast wore an old David Ortiz jersey from the world champion Red Sox. But his son Connor was a bat, although he showed up today in Yankee pinstripes in a onesie, and there were many more. As for me, how could you be more scary than this? Now let's head over to ABC7's chief meteorologist, Bob Harrigan, with the first alert forecast. Bob.
Thank you, Alan. Yeah, a lot of great costumes today here at ABC7. I'm sure there are a lot out there right now trick-or-treating, so be careful as far as any kind of driving goes. Folks, look out for all the kids and parents out there. Lakewood Ranch are looking really quite nice this evening. Just a few fair weather cumulus clouds out there dancing across the skies, and generally fair skies. It looks as though we'll see that continuing throughout the overnight hours, even into Thursday morning. It will be a little bit warmer and breezier on Thursday. You'll notice that humidity coming up a little bit as we start to see a wind shift in advance of a cold front, which will bring us some rainfall on Friday. Pretty good chance of that happening mainly later in the day on Friday and through the evening hours into the early morning hours on Saturday. By Sunday, we have a quick turnaround. That front goes down to our south, and then it comes back northward as a warm front, bringing us some afternoon showers on Sunday. It looks like right now mainly showers. There could be an isolated thunderstorm, but a pretty good bet for some rainfall late Friday and then again Sunday afternoon. 77 right now, no rain out there in sight. We have an east wind at 6, and the humidity starting to come up a little bit as the pressure is still pretty high. And as far as the evening forecast goes, looks like temperatures in the low 70s by 11 o'clock under fair skies, under the dominance of a large area of high pressure, which is slowly moving off now. This high continues to bump and get moved off to the east, allowing this storm system and frontal boundary to work in our direction. Well, much more on that front a little bit later. Obviously, you can follow along with the rain on Friday and storms as well on our ABC7 weather app. And if you have the weather app on your smartphone or your tablet, you want to update it because we do have a new version that has just recently come out. So go ahead and do that. Just go to your app store at WWSB, do a search for First Alert Weather ABC7. Alan?
Bob, thank you. Today, President Trump is tweeting about his trip to the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh and how he and the First Lady were received. Some residents and many local officials had asked him to delay the visit until the victims were buried. Meanwhile, police are continuing their investigation into the deadliest anti-Semitic attack in U.S. history. ABC's Stephanie Ramos reports from Washington.
This was the scene outside the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh as President Trump and First Lady Melania visited the site where 11 people were murdered as they worshiped. The synagogue's rabbi welcoming them. Mourners lining the block around the synagogue to remember those who were killed in the Saturday morning massacre. This land was made for you and me. All while more than 1,000 protesters demanding the president denounce white nationalism.
He is not welcome in my synagogue and in my city.
Demonstrators carrying signs that read "Words Matter." One neighbor shouting from her front steps.
It's not about you! Let the families grieve!
ABC News crews posted near the president could hear the protesters, yet President Trump is painting a different picture today, tweeting, "Melania and I were treated very nicely yesterday in Pittsburgh. Small protest was not seen by us, staged far away." Before the president's visit, the mayor of Pittsburgh said the trip would be ill-timed, and one of the victims' families even reportedly declined to meet with the president because of his comments after the shooting that the synagogue should have had an armed guard. However, a widow of one of the victims did meet with the president.
She said that she wanted to be there in order to show him that people wanted him there.
Today, more funerals are planned as the FBI tries to learn more about the shooter. It seems as though no one really knew the killer. On social media, he's been described as a demon, but in person, Robert Bowers seemed to be more of a ghost. No known family and no apparent friends. In Washington, Stephanie Ramos, ABC News.
In the moment, Sarasota's mayor, the CEO of the Jewish Federation, and is our politics partly to blame at the trapezoid?
When it comes to drinking, what do you think moderation is? The U.S. Dietary Guidelines define moderation as up to 1 drink a day for women and up to 2 drinks a day for men. So what's a drink? The guidelines say a drink equals 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or a cocktail with 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. Each contains the same amount of alcohol. Like to learn more? Visit drinkinmoderation.org.
Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Make your holidays sparkle with style. Browse our amazing showroom, cute collectible cottages, and beautiful Christmas displays. Find the inspiration, selection, and quality you need to deck the halls merry and bright. Christmas Traditions also features the area's largest selection of quality pre-lit Christmas trees, every size, shape, and color, and plenty of decorations to make your home shine for the holidays. Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Visit us on New 301, just a quarter-mile north of University Parkway.
There are lots of people who are confused about which Medicare plan is right for them.
Hey, that's me. I barely know where to start.
Well, start here with me, Karen. I'm a licensed Humana sales agent.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Karen. I'm John Smith.
Hi, John. At Humana, we know you're unique, so you have different needs from other John Smiths.
Yeah, I've always thought so.
And together, we can find a plan that's right for you.
Great. I go to the doctor a couple of times a year, and I have some prescriptions, but I'm never fully sure of what's covered and what's not.
With Humana's all-in-one Medicare Advantage plans, you get coverage for hospital stays, doctor visits, and Part D prescription drug benefits, all for an affordable and sometimes no monthly plan premium.
Do you have any more information?
Sure. I'll get a decision guide in the mail to you today. They're free.
Finally, someone who understands the real me.
Your health and happiness is important to us. Call or go online now to get your free decision guide. Call a licensed Humana sales agent today.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to mesobook.com.
Recovery from mental and substance use disorders is real.
You can recover.
It's possible. It happens every day.
Never give up on yourself.
Discover hope and help.
The world is a beautiful place again.
Join the Voices for Recovery. For confidential information for mental and substance use disorders, call 1-800-662-HELP.
Keep up with the Suncoast. Watch your favorite ABC7 shows on your streaming device.
Welcome back. From the depths of despair to the embrace of a loving community, the horror inflicted in Pittsburgh this week shattered the lives of 11 families, the Jewish community in Pittsburgh, and the entire city. It was also a gut punch to American Jews across the country. Why is anti-Semitism on the rise? Who or what are fanning the flames? Yet through all the anger and the pain is the warm embrace of the larger community. An estimated 2,200 people turned out at the Sarasota Fairgrounds Monday night for a candlelight vigil. There were vigils like this across the state and the nation, and it wasn't just Jews. It was Christians, it was Muslims, Buddhists, Sikhs. They were grieving Americans. Joining us for more are Howard Tevlowitz, the CEO of the Jewish Federation of Sarasota Manatee, Sarasota Mayor Liz Alpert, and Frank Alcock, a political science professor at New College. And I welcome you all for what is an extremely tough week. And Howard, let me start with you, because what seems amazing to me, that on an almost spontaneous basis, 2,200 people from around our area gathered at the fairgrounds there. That's no small thing.
No, it was pretty amazing, actually. We came in on Saturday when the massacre took place. By Sunday, we had an idea of what we wanted to do. We sent a note out that we wanted to do it at the Federation campus. However, by Monday morning, by the time I came into work, we already had over 600 people had responded. By noon, it was 1,100, and when we cut it off by 3 o'clock, it was 1,700. And thank God for the city. They were amazing. They turned out, they enabled us to get to the fairgrounds and go.
And you went about it in a deliberate way. You had members of the clergy speak, but you didn't want the politicians.
It's a time to bring community together, and I think it's a time for people, for spirituality and for comfort. It's not a time for speechifying, and we left it for the clergy, Jewish, Muslim, and Christian.
And we'll talk about that a little bit, but Liz, obviously what happened in Pittsburgh, frankly, could happen anywhere. It could happen here. You're the mayor of the city. I would imagine that your police department is also very aware of this. What have they said to you in terms of where they're at right now in terms of looking for warning signs?
Well, they've been proactive already. After the shooting in Charleston, they immediately got in touch with all of the religious leaders in the area and brought them together and started working on some solutions for how they can make sure they're safe. And they actually came up with a handbook to help all the congregations know what to do in case of a shooting situation, how to keep their houses of worship safe. And so they have been working on making sure things like that don't happen in our area. Now for this weekend, there's going to be a heightened police presence at the houses of worship.
And we're going to want to talk about that as well. Frank, should we have seen this coming? I mean, we keep on hearing reports about a rise in the anti-Semitism, and we'll get into this more, but I mean, is it simple enough to say our politics is involved with this, or
yes, we should have seen this coming. If we haven't, we should see it now. It's more than just anti-Semitism.
It's part of our politics. Social media has a lot to do with the interaction of social media politics in our society. I don't know any other way than to characterize this. There are some dark forces that are out there. Some of them are external, outside of the country. Some of them are internal, and they'd like nothing better to tear our country apart. There are some other forces that are just being opportunistic and trying to either seize or hold on to power. But they are lighting fires, they are fanning flames, and they're doing what they can to neutralize the first responders in terms of our politics. And we better wake up and see what's going on, or things are going to get a lot worse.
Right, we have to take a quick break. Our conversation on anti-Semitism on the rise continues right after we get a check on the First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Well, thanks, Alan. Here's a look now from our ABC7 tower cam showing the sun has gone down at this point, and a nice orange sky out there just in time for Halloween. All the trick-or-treaters out there. Very tough time for drivers to see some of those, and it's tough for the trick-or-treaters if the masks aren't properly adjusted for them to see the vehicles. So be careful if you're going to be driving around town. And remember, this weekend, we get out of daylight saving time. We go to back to an hour back, and fall back 1 hour. That begins at 2 a.m. on Sunday morning. So before you go to bed on Saturday, make sure you set that clock back 1 hour. Well, Titan radar picture showing our next system going to have an impact on our weather Friday. Right now, you see it moving through the mid-Mississippi Valley all the way down into the southern plains, where some big storms are starting to break out there. The severe weather is going to stay well to our north, as the main energy of the system will pass well to our north and kind of move up to the northeast. It will leave a cold front behind. This front won't have a lot of energy to push through and really get out of here quickly. So it's going to be a slow mover. It'll start to move through on Friday, eventually clearing out of here by early Saturday morning. And then we'll see a better day on Saturday. The wind flow, which has been easterly, which has been good for the red tide, at least the harmful impacts anyway, carrying all that off the beaches, is going to change. Tomorrow, it'll still be out of the east with a south component to it as well, so a southeast direction. And it will be breezier tomorrow. But then notice what happens by Thursday afternoon. It starts to become more southerly and then southwesterly. Unfortunately, that west component will start to cause some problems with some bigger waves that aerosolizes the red tide and the impacts and carries it toward beachgoers, and that stays out of the west and southwest on Friday, eventually switching to the northwest on Saturday, bringing in that cooler air. But for the time being, this high pressure ridge will stay with us at least through one more day, and then it fades off to the east. This front, you'll notice that we get rid of a lot of the yellows and reds, and we see just green really. So that would indicate the storms are going to lose a little bit of their punch as that low pressure takes off to the east. Another low will come down across the southeast United States, kind of pick that up and carry another front right through us, and that front will take its time, as I mentioned. So a few showers are possible on into Friday morning, but more so after the late afternoon and evening hours. We'll see our best chance for some rainfall, and it shouldn't be all that tough as far as that goes. But right now, rain-free across the Sun Coast, and dry air still in place over Florida and the Bahamas and the Florida Straits. All that, though, starting to exit off to the east and south. So the atmosphere will moisten up a little bit tomorrow. So we'll see a few more clouds around. It will feel a little bit muggier. Still warm. Temperatures will be above average into the mid-80s for the most part. Some upper 80s possible well inland. The GFS forecast model showing that high pressure ridge moving off to the east, and here comes the front approaching. This is Friday at 5 p.m. You'll notice that beginning line of showers, at least this model depicting those, and then it weakens a little bit on Saturday early morning. Still some showers in place. Saturday morning at sunrise, we'll start to see still some clouds around, but maybe some breaks in those clouds. The whole day Saturday should be partly cloudy, and then Sunday it moves back northward as a warm front and brings with it another chance for some showers Sunday afternoon and through Sunday evening. Here's the forecast for boaters tomorrow. Winds will be out of the east and southeast at 15 knots, so a little bit breezier out there for boaters. Seas running 2 to 3 feet. The extended forecast then, 60% chance for mainly afternoon and evening showers, a 20% chance for a morning shower on Saturday. Should be a nice day, 78. And then 70% chance for showers comes late Sunday afternoon and evening as that front moves back northward as a warm front, and then temperatures do warm up. Alan will be back with his guests right after this. Stick around.
It fell off the roof of my car.
It fell out of my backpack.
Oh, it fell off my grocery cart.
I tossed it to a really clumsy friend.
I tripped while jogging.
My 2-year-old had a temper tantrum.
It bounced down 2 flights of stairs.
No matter how you broke your smartphone, there's only one smart way to fix it. Batteries plus bulbs.
I dropped it on the floor, and he stepped on it.
Schedule your repair at batteriesplus.com.
Enjoy fine wine and great foods, all while supporting a great cause. It's the 17th annual Suncoast Food and Wine Fest, happening Saturday, November 10th from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Premier Sports Campus in Lakewood Ranch. Taste hundreds of wines from around the world and sample great food from the area's finest restaurants. All proceeds go to local charities and Rotary projects. For tickets and information, visit suncoastfoodandwinefest.com.
Planning a Carnival Fantasy Cruise out of Mobile? Then check out the park and cruise packages at the luxurious Battle House and Renaissance Riverview Plaza hotels. Stay at the Battle House for $169 per night or the Riverview Plaza for just $149 per night and leave your car for the duration of your cruise. Includes transportation to and from the cruise terminal. If you're cruising out of Mobile, come stay with us. Call 1-800-MARRIOTT or visit Marriott.com now.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
Are you a soccer mom or dad? Regardless of their age or experience level, when your kids play soccer or any other sport, there's one person on the sideline who is key to help recognize and seek medical care for sports-related concussion. It's you. You need to know the signs and symptoms of concussion, and you need to act if you think your child has been injured. Remember, when in doubt, sit them out. To learn more, go to cdc.gov/concussion. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004.
Welcome back. We are talking about the rise of anti-Semitism after this week's Pittsburgh massacre, and joining us for more are Howard Tevlowitz, the CEO of the Jewish Federation of Sarasota Manatee, Sarasota Mayor Liz Alpert, and Frank Alcock, a political science professor at New College. And Liz, you started to tell us that Sarasota police are going to be out not only at synagogues around the community, but also other denominations. What's the thought process there?
Well, I think it's, number one, I think there are going to be more people going to services, and I think there's a concern about a copycat wanting to do the same thing that they see usually when things show up in the news and these kinds of events happen, somebody else gets the same idea. But, and I know Howard was going to mention this, the Jewish Federation is calling on more people to attend Shabbat services this weekend. And in fact, the U.S. Conference of Mayors also sent out a memo saying to mayors, you know, be sure to try to go to services this weekend to show solidarity.
Howard, I want to go back to the vigil earlier this week, because as we talked about, you wanted this to be the clergy's moment and you wanted to keep the politics out of it, but the clergy being the clergy will say whatever they want. And describe for us the points they tried to make that kind of put some of the politicians there on notice.
Well, I think this was more geared towards how people feel, how they felt. I mean, this is deeply personal. This is not something far away. This was there, and I think my Rabbi Michael Warbaugh from Temple Beth Shalom in Sarasota, really talked to the heart of it. He lived there. So he's from there. He went to a funeral there yesterday. And this is deeply personal for us. So the rabbis, the Christian clergy, and the imam spoke from the heart. So this was not a time to talk about politics. There was a little bit of conversation talking to the elected officials that were there, but it was more about the need to bring this country together and not to divide it.
But we are divided and not quite all together right now. The vice president addressed the president's reaction and his visit to Pittsburgh yesterday. Let's take a look.
It's incredible to think that 11 lives were lost, 6 others injured, including law enforcement officials. As President Trump and I have made clear, what happened was not just criminal, it was evil, and we will never allow violence or anti-Semitism to take hold in the United States of America.
Obviously, those are strong words from the vice president, but the reaction to the president, Frank, in Pittsburgh yesterday was a little bit different.
It was. I think those words on the part of the vice president were better, I think, than the president, but it's more what he says before and after certain moments. I think in Pittsburgh, certainly, the pain is there. I think people understand how rhetoric that might on the margins seem questionable but not necessarily hateful certainly slips into hateful rhetoric, and it enables what we saw in Pittsburgh. So I don't think the entire community of Pittsburgh was ready for the president, but I think it's time to move away from finger pointing and blame at this point. At this point, we know who the president is. We know what the president is. The president's behavior is not going to change, and so I think it's incumbent upon us to change our behavior, not really wait for a change in behavior.
We are just getting warmed up on this conversation. It will continue on the increase in anti-Semitism after a quick break. Stay with us.
Blue 32, Blue 32, hot, hot. It's the Ghetto Gridiron Challenge. The game's on to sell 2,000 vehicles. 12 teams compete for the #1 spot. Score a great deal at every Ghetto dealership. Buy with 0 down. Make no payments for 90 days. Choose from 14 of your favorite brands, all on sale. Who will make it to the end zone? You decide. Rush to a Ghetto location near you or visit Ghetto.com. Ghetto's got it.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
America was built on a love for the outdoors. We are a nation of sportsmen, blessed with magnificent natural resources. With broad interests across water and field, we are united in our devotion to nature and conservation. Join us every week for the best shows celebrating the outdoor lifestyle. Outdoor America. Live free.
This weekend on the ABC7 live stream.
Hi, I'm Janelle Hale, founder and CEO of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. No one should face breast cancer alone. When I was diagnosed 36 years ago, there was no internet, and I had to make a decision with little information. Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. To learn what every woman needs to know about breast cancer, visit nbcf.org/hope.
Watch Saturdays at midnight on ABC7. Premieres September 8th.
I just need a second.
Is your weight holding you back and affecting your health?
Did you see this? Your cousin had a heart attack.
Really?
Excess weight or obesity can be serious, but you can do something about it. Visit yourweightmatters.org. Download the free toolkit to prepare you to speak with a healthcare provider. Your weight does matter. Accept the challenge and take charge today. Visit yourweightmatters.org.
Watch Suncoast View weekdays at 9 a.m. on ABC7. You're watching ABC7 News at 7:30.
Welcome back, everyone. We are talking about the rise of anti-Semitism after this week's Pittsburgh massacre. And joining us for more are Howard Tevlowitz, the CEO of the Jewish Federation of Sarasota and Manatee, Sarasota Mayor Liz Alpert, and Frank Alcock, a political science professor at New College. And Frank, you were saying that you're done in terms of expecting the right words out of this president right now. The question that some people are raising is whether he has dog whistles that are giving those who are anti-Semitic cause for being A, more vocal, and B, more active. The investigation into the Pittsburgh shooting will go on, but there's been talk about that suspect's dislike for a Jewish organization that helped immigrants.
Yeah, no, the dog whistles are there, and they're clear, and I'm not sure why the rest of society does not see them as clearly as I do. Where I'm having a hard time as I'm watching expecting the president to behave any differently than he's behaving, that will not happen. That will never happen. Getting the folks that are enabling and supporting him to change their behavior, I don't know how to crack that nut. It's a different question. But when it comes to the president, he is not going to lead us out of this situation. But it's just not going to happen.
It's not just the president. There are a lot of people who are, overt and less overt. There's been a lot of attention to the Republican Congressman Steve King,
yes,
who made a trip to Europe and basically was pretty out there with groups that have Nazi leanings. And today, the head of the Republican Congressional Action Committee basically cut him loose.
Right.
And this is a little bit of what Steve King had to say.
I'm not deleting that because then you all pile on me and say King had to apologize, he was wrong, he knows he's guilty. I'm not. I don't feel guilty one bit. I'm human.
Okay, he's human. This is something his own party is coming down on him.
That's right. When his own party cuts him loose and comes down on him, that's what I want to see more of. That's calling him out as we've called him out, but it's taken a couple of weeks for them to respond. So I'm very happy with the development that we've had today. It's just different than my point. When Trump sucks up the oxygen and the news cycle, and then you're not seeing the reaction that you want to get. And he actually is able to use some of these things to his advantage. I don't want to get caught in that trap anymore. I'm done with that.
And Howard, your point is that there are problems, yes, on the right, maybe from the president himself, but you take issue with the left and anti-Semitism, whether it's on college campuses or elsewhere.
Yeah, this has been a problem. I've been here in Sarasota for almost 19 years. I've watched this problem for 19 years around the country. We're very attuned to this. Just a few months ago, Aretha Franklin had a funeral. Look at the podium. Look to the left of the podium. Louis Farrakhan was sitting there with a former president of the United States. A few weeks ago, Bill Clinton. Louis Farrakhan called Jews termites a few weeks ago and used words worse than that. So this issue has been going on college campuses for years. There's a new term called intersectionality. The new love of this is a woman called Linda Sarsour, who is referring to Jews in all kinds of negative ways. And this nexus between Israel and Jewish is completely blurred.
All right, I want to just point out to our viewers that the president right now is coming out onto the stage in Fort Myers. He's in Florida to campaign for Ron DeSantis, the Republican. I think we have some video of the president coming to the podium now. If he says anything on this issue, on the tragedy this week in Pittsburgh, or anything else along those lines, we'll bring that to you by the end of the broadcast. Liz, you meet and talk to so many people in this community from all different faiths and denominations, but you have also seen over time, we have had a number of anti-Semitic incidents at local synagogues and so forth. Have you seen this happen, at least in our community, on a more frequent basis?
I haven't seen it personally or with people that I've talked to, and again, Howard probably has a better read on that, but we really haven't. We have, in our community in 2003, we adopted an anti-discrimination ordinance, and we were, you know, very progressive in doing that, which calls for, you know, freedom from discrimination for based on age, color, disability, gender, marital status, national origin, race, religion, sexual orientation, and veteran status. So we're one of the few communities that have this human rights ordinance, and so I think overall our community is pretty together.
You know what my thought was when hearing about the shooting in the aftermath in Pittsburgh, Frank, is that the police rushed in. They rushed in en masse, and so did the first responders. And they weren't rushing in because it was Jews who were being fired upon. They rushed in because it was not only their job, it was not only their shift, but that's what Americans do.
Yes.
And the question is, that uniquely American act, when we have a situation, whether it's anti-Semitism or bigotry or racism in general, how come there is not a larger public, more unified confrontation of it?
That's a great question. I wish we can spend more time and more moments seeing each other as human beings and appreciating everything that we have in common with us, with one another. But that just seems to be slipping away more and more. And as I said at the outset, I think that it's intentional. I think there are a number of forces, both internal and external, that are deliberately trying to get us to tear one another.
We're going to take a quick pause there because the president right now in Fort Myers is talking about the shooting. Let's listen in.
Evil anti-Semitic attack. Yesterday I traveled to Pittsburgh to meet with the families and first responders. And I especially want to thank Rabbi Jeffrey Myers. He was terrific. He was terrific. Fine man. We grieve for the families of the fallen, and we send our eternal gratitude to the law enforcement officers who sustained severe injuries taking down the gunmen. They were incredible. They were incredible. They were incredible. Could have been as bad as it was, and it was bad. It could have been far worse. They were unbelievable, and they got there fast. We pledge our resolve to remove the vile poison of anti-Semitism and so many other problems from our world, and we reaffirm...
The president speaking about the very issue that we are talking about tonight, but Howard, how do you put that next to some of the other comments that the president has made recently about globalists, about nationalism, which has connotations that are very, very bad during history? There are commercials out there that single out the head of the Fed and other people who are in power who just happen to be Jewish. And there's suspicions that there is some dog whistles there.
Look, it's hard for me because we don't deal in politics. Obviously, this is concerning. It wasn't just the president, it's other people in Congress who were talking about 3 people with a Jewish background. You know, you get into issues, the elders of the protocols of Zion. I mean, there's all kinds of issues we're dealing with here. And with Frank, you know, we have to move the dialogue, and I think moving the dialogue starts at home. This is an amazing community. I've never worked in a place like this where we work with faith leaders. We work at a different level. And you asked in the beginning why we were able to turn people out, because we have these relationships. We talk to each other. We know each other. It's kind of hard to hate someone you don't know, or you know. And this is part of the challenge.
Right.
I think that's the key to get over this and get through this. Is it is going to be on the people to come together, create community, get to know their neighbors, and get to know people that don't look or act or worship like them.
We need more of that in our community, but
Absolutely.
too often they were kind of going to our own sides, our own teams, and so forth. We have to take a quick break. We'll be back for final thoughts in a moment, so stay with us.
Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Make your holidays sparkle with style. Browse our amazing showroom, cute collectible cottages, and beautiful Christmas displays. Find the inspiration, selection, and quality you need to deck the halls merry and bright. Christmas Traditions also features the area's largest selection of quality pre-lit Christmas trees, every size, shape, and color, and plenty of decorations to make your home shine for the holidays. Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Visit us on New 301, just a quarter-mile north of University Parkway.
Helping families with mesothelioma is all we do. My firm has been offering a free book on mesothelioma for over 10 years. Since that time, hundreds of people with mesothelioma have trusted us to represent them. We have local offices throughout the U.S. and there is no risk to you. Mesothelioma really is all we do. Call us at 1-800-485-6000. That's 1-800-485-6000. Or go to mesoonlylaw.com.
There are lots of people who are confused about which Medicare plan is right for them.
Hey, that's me. I barely know where to start.
Well, start here with me, Karen. I'm a licensed Humana sales agent.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Karen. I'm John Smith.
Hi, John. At Humana, we know you're unique, so you have different needs from other John Smiths.
Yeah, I've always thought so.
And together, we can find a plan that's right for you.
Great. I go to the doctor a couple of times a year, and I have some prescriptions, but I'm never fully sure of what's covered and what's not.
With Humana's all-in-one Medicare Advantage plans, you get coverage for hospital stays, doctor visits, and Part D prescription drug benefits, all for an affordable and sometimes no monthly plan premium.
Do you have any more information?
Sure. I'll get a decision guide in the mail to you today. They're free.
Finally, someone who understands the real me.
Your health and happiness is important to us. Call or go online now to get your free decision guide. Call a licensed Humana sales agent today.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
And our guest joining us right now for final thoughts. And Frank, I'll start with you because we just saw a moment ago wonderful words from the President of the United States talking about anti-Semitism. And then we come back to our conversation, and if the President went on, he started talking about the fake news media as the enemy of the people because they reported there was opposition to his visit in Pittsburgh by some people in the congregation and members of that community, and that no public officials wanted to really be there with him. And isn't that kind of part of the problem, that we look to our leaders to soothe the nation in times like this, and that's good, but then we get that.
Right, and I don't think you're going to get anything different than that. And that's what I mean by throwing firecrackers and fanning flames. But I think we have to, I don't think that we can wait from leadership from above in these moments. I still continue to believe that for the vast majority of us, there's far more good within us than there is bad and evil. And we just have to summon that good stuff and understand what a critical time we're having in this country, and be able to react, see each other as humans, respect one another, be sane and not crazy. And we're not going to agree on everything, but at least we need to be able to disagree in a civil way. We're not able to do that anymore.
And Liz, what role do public officials like you have to help that along?
Well, I think Frank sort of hit on it. I think public officials need to be setting the example for everyone, and bringing people together and doing the things that create that, not creating a division.
And Howard, you get the final word, and the question to you is, what should the Jewish community do? Aside from calling it out on all sides, what do we need to do that we are not doing yet?
Well, I think we need to continue to develop relationships in the community. We need to rely on our faith, but we also need to rely on other faiths to stand up with us and stand up against this kind of behavior. I will throw out a little bit of a plug that the American Jewish Committee and the Federation are encouraging everybody this weekend on Friday night and Saturday to come to synagogues. Jews and non-Jews alike, come out, and that's a display of putting boots right on the ground. But what we have to do is just be aware and speak out against it. There's just nothing to push this under the carpet anymore. We have to speak forcefully, but I agree with Frank, what we don't want to do is just raise this temperature all the time where it's a burning house constantly and we're screaming at each other. It's just going to get nowhere.
All right. Thank you all for being here tonight. We want to thank our guest, Howard Tevlowitz, the CEO of the Jewish Federation of Sarasota and Manatee, Liz Alpert, the mayor of Sarasota, and Frank Alcock, a political science professor at New College. When we return, the elections are just days away, and President Trump is traveling across the country, doing everything he can to prevent a blue wave. But right now, let's get the final check on our first alert forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Here we have the sunset tonight, the Van Wezel webcam. Good evening, everyone. We are looking at some clear skies and pretty calm conditions out there on the waters, and it looks as though we'll see fair skies overnight. Nothing going on there, but beautiful sunset tonight. You can see the orange colors there and pink as well. Just a few clouds around. There's not a lot of clouds, and we aren't anticipating anything too bad tomorrow. We'll see a little increase in moisture as this high pressure system that's been over the top of us slips out. Now, there's a stationary front located to the north and west of us. That's causing some heavy weather into Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma. Dew point temperatures are what we look at for lows overnight. And they're starting to get a little higher, and that's a result of the east to southeasterly wind we'll be seeing overnight. As far as the rainfall goes, there's no rain within several hundred miles of our area, and it's all to the northwest of us. Kind of that warm, moist air overriding the cooler air behind it. It's going to take a while to get to us. Won't be here really until Friday late and into early Saturday morning when that front will move through. Now, the atmosphere has been extremely dry as of late. Now, that dry air is moving off to the east and south right now, and that will be replaced by some moisture, especially in the lower levels of the atmosphere. This is the upper levels, 20 to 30,000 feet, and that is going to get out of here too. So the atmosphere will moisten up just in time for that front on Friday. The highs tomorrow will be above average into the mid-80s for the most part. It will feel a little bit warmer. And looks as though our low temperatures will be into the upper 60s for the most part. High pressure slips off to the east. Here's the frontal boundary moving on into the panhandle of Florida on into Thursday. And then by Friday, it starts to move to north central Florida. And then eventually in our area late in the afternoon and evening. And then even into Saturday morning, there could be some lingering showers, light rainfall around. We are not anticipating at this time any severe storms or, for that matter, thunderstorms. That chance of thunderstorms about 20%. I would not be surprised to see one or two, but not a widespread thunderstorm event anticipated. And then that front gets hung up down to our south. Eventually, it will attach itself to another area of low pressure developing over the lower Mississippi Valley. And once that happens, it works its way back northward as a warm front on Sunday and Monday, bringing with it a chance for showers. And then again, another chance for showers as another cold front from that same low moves through. So it's back and forth, we go over the next 4 days and then into next week even. It looks as though we'll see a slight chance for Election Day. There's not going to be a big rain event on Tuesday. We may see a few more showers over the panhandle of Florida. Well, in the tropics, we have just about a month to go before the official end of a very active hurricane season. We had 15 named storms. This is no longer a tropical system. It's become extratropical, and it's lost its tropical characteristics as it heads off to the northeast and races off toward Europe. Now, it's moving to the northeast at 35 miles an hour, and that's what happens to these storms. As they gain latitude, they start to pick up forward speed, and that's what's happened with what's left of Oscar. 77 right now, clear skies, and the dew point starting to come up slowly. As far as the high goes today, it warmed to 86. It was above average, but it felt nice out there as a result of that drier air in place. The low this morning was 61. Well, satellite and radar imagery showing this storm system starting to get its act together, bringing rough weather into Oklahoma and parts of Texas tonight. You can see that intense line of storms making its way through Arkansas, where there are tornado watches out. Cooler weather to the northern Great Lakes, also in the northern plains and into the central Rockies. Those are the current temperatures, pretty warm over the southeast. For boaters tomorrow, seas running 2 to 3 feet out there. And winds will be out of the east to start today, switching around more to a southeast later on. And the extended forecast then, 60% chance for scattered showers and an isolated thunderstorm not out of the question on Friday. Saturday looks good. Sunday afternoon, not so good as that front moves back northward. There's a better chance for showers in the mix on Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening. As I mentioned, a slight chance for showers comes on Tuesday. Al will be right back after this.
Your last chance for 2018 Honda Civics on sale is now. During our model year-end sale, drive new Civics for just $169 a month. You made Civic the best-selling compact car in America. And now get Civic, a KBB.com's best buy of the year for less than the competition. New Civics just $169 a month. Your last chance for Civics, all on sale this week at your local Honda dealer.
I heard about the Vidoe Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Vidoe Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was and some additional cancers that were not found during the biopsy. I would recommend the Vidoe Cancer Center. As a group of human beings, they are unbelievably great.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
If you're looking for the perfect trip that allows you to spend quality time with a family, then discover the great outdoors on an Alabama Black Belt adventure. Create unforgettable memories while hunting, fishing, or biking and hiking. Or play the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, now celebrating 25 years. And while you're here, enjoy the flavors of the Black Belt. Book your adventure at our lodges or stay in the Renaissance Montgomery Hotel and Spa. Start planning an Alabama Black Belt adventure today.
Support the Hurricane Michael Relief and Disaster Fund by donating to the United Way of Northwest Florida today. Help communities rise and rebuild after the devastating mess left behind. Every donation makes a difference and is appreciated. Together, we are all Panhandle Strong.
Keep up with the Suncoast. Watch your favorite ABC7 shows on your streaming device.
Checking primetime headlines with the midterm elections less than a week away. President Trump holds his first of 11 campaign rallies in 8 states. ABC's Stephanie Ramos takes a look at how the race is shaping up and will recent events in the country play any role in the outcome on Election Day.
President Trump is trying to rally support for Republican candidates, mainly in tight Senate races right up until Election Day.
It seems that the campaign is going very well. Looks like we're doing very, very well in the Senate.
As Republicans and Democrats battle it out in this final week of campaigning, they've had to adjust their messaging in response to recent events like the serial pipe bomber, the Pittsburgh synagogue shooting, and the caravan of migrants headed toward the U.S. The president requesting thousands of U.S. troops to guard the U.S.-Mexico border. California Senator Dianne Feinstein seeking a 6th term, mocking Trump's decision.
The numbers are more than the troops in Syria and Iraq combined. And I think it's kind of ridiculous.
The alleged gunman in the synagogue shooting made reference to the approaching caravan and the danger it might pose to Americans. And in response to the mail bombs, the president stated that the IEDs mailed to prominent Democrats was the media's doing.
To see external events crash their way into the campaign, it has just created the worst kind of backdrop for politics.
And with less than 1 week to go before Election Day, President Trump says he plans to issue an executive order eliminating birthright citizenship for children born to undocumented immigrants in the U.S. Representative Carlos Corbello, who is fighting for his seat in South Florida, responded.
It's a shame that the president has decided to raise this issue, especially so close to an election.
Early voting is already underway in 33 states. So far, 16 states have surpassed early voting records. In Washington, Stephanie Ramos, ABC News.
As former White House counsel Don McGahn was leaving his job, President Trump blamed him for Robert Mueller's Russia investigation. That's according to sources close to McGahn. Trump complained about the probe to McGahn as the two met one last time in the Oval Office. It was during McGahn's tenure Mueller was appointed to investigate Russian election meddling and possible collusion by the Trump campaign. Trump had ordered McGahn to fire Mueller. McGahn refused and threatened to resign. McGahn also drew Trump's ire by cooperating with Mueller's probe, participating in several interviews spanning 30 hours. Fans lined the streets of Boston today for a procession of duck boats celebrating the World Series victory of a team which wears ugly red socks. The team defeated the Los Angeles Dodgers on Sunday. Sunday's victory was the Sox' 4th World Series in 15 years and Boston's 11th pro title since 2001. This team still lags behind the Yankees' 27 World Championships. As for the parade, the players, coaches, and their families rode in duck boats, amphibious vehicles often used for tours of the city because no other rides were available. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alec. Thanks for joining us. Good night.